Welcome to Hospitality Property School. You are listening to Hospitality Property School with your host, Jerry McPherson. Welcome to another edition of Hospitality Property School. I am your instructor, Jerry McPherson, and today I'm going to talk about becoming your own guest. Now, a number of years back, I was approached by an acquaintance who was looking for some advice. Very smart businessman, an entrepreneur, who had a number of business ventures, including as a business realtor. He was very analytical and focused on the bottom line, and he came across one business for sale, an independent hotel, and he was intrigued. He thought it had a lot of potential, so he bought it himself. He calculated the cost of running the business, the occupancy rate required to start making a profit, and a marketing strategy. Within no time, business was coming to his door. A year later, he contacted me and asked to meet. He told me he was getting a fairly steady stream of business, but very little or no return business. I asked him, "What are your guests telling you on their comment cards and surveys?" He told me he did not have comment cards available and that he had never done a survey. I then asked, "Are your staff trained to ask for complaints?" He told me that aspect was not covered in the training, and then he admitted there was very little training for any of his staff. I suggested I check in and stay for a night, and then report to him what I found. His staff did not know me and thought I was just a walk-in looking for a room. The receptionist was friendly enough, but while checking me in, was chatting with one of the housekeepers. When I asked for a recommendation for a place to eat, she said there is a takeout food place across the street. That was her only suggestion and ended the conversation there. The room was nice enough, nothing fancy, but seemed clean. After taking a little time to do an inspection, I found that the window had been nailed shut. There was hair in one of the bathroom glasses. When I turned on the radio, I found it was very loud and set to a country station, and the mattress had stains on it. My sleep was a little restless, not only because of the stains on the mattress, but it was uncomfortable, and the pillows were flat. The breakfast the next morning was passable, nothing exciting, and the checkout was fast, with very little conversation, and no one asked about my stay. When we met later that day, the owner wanted to know everything, but the first thing I said to him was, "When was the last time you stayed at your hotel?" And he said, "I've never stayed at my hotel." Well, I recommended that he do that before we had our chat. He took my advice, and a couple of days later, he walked up to the front desk and told the receptionist that he would like to check in and be treated like any other regular walk-in customer. Of course, it was a little harder for his employees to think of him as a regular guest, but he was able to get an idea of what his guests experience. He invited other acquaintances to check into his property and report back what they had found, and over the next few months, he stayed in every room, taking time to go through them and every corner of his property with a fine-tooth comb. Then he and his employees took the time to create a fully functional operations manual. His return business increased dramatically, and his revenues increased 47% in 12 months. This is an exercise that many hoteliers I've met over the years have told me they would like to do but cannot find the time. My response has always been the same. This is your business, your livelihood. You have to know what's going on. Make the time. Small to medium independent hotel and bed and breakfasts have much to gain from this advice. If you do not take the time or have not thought of staying in your property as an option, it's a good idea to put it on your calendar much sooner than later. A different perspective can surely open up your eyes. Before you start visiting your own property, I recommend you have checklists to ensure consistency. I would suggest using a hotel site inspection checklist, a guest room checklist, quality of service assessment checklist, and an exhibit checklist, and that would be for properties who host meetings or events. If you do not have these checklists, you can access them in the Guide to Operating an Independent Hotel or Bed and Breakfast training tutorials. And that you can find through a link in the show notes at keystonehospitalitydevelopment.com/KHDC038. So in conclusion, seeing your property through the eyes of your guest can be a real eye-opener. One recommendation I do have is that if you or your mystery guests are using checklists, make sure to be honest and don't make excuses. If you take this exercise seriously, your property can't help but improve. If you have any interesting stories about staying at your property or mystery guests and would like to share, or have any questions or feedback, please leave them in the comment section of the show notes at keystonehospitalitydevelopment.com/KHDC038. Well, that's it for today's session of Hospitality Property School. We do appreciate your comments and topic ideas, so please, with anything, reach out to us on Facebook at facebook.com/KeystoneHDC, on Twitter at twitter.com/KeystoneHDC, or by email at info@keystonehospitalitydevelopment.com. As always, let's work together to put heads in your beds. Until next time, have a fun day. This session of Hospitality Property School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe so as not to miss any hospitality property tactics and strategies that will help you find the success you have always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. We will see you next time, right here in Hospitality Property School.